Per my plan, I took no trades Friday. Nothing I had set up yesterday that I was able to catch, so I did not take any trades yesterday. Today, however, I took two, one winner and one loser. My loser I took right on this setup here. I actually saw this big bounce here off of news. Everything was below the moving averages. I got into it a little bit too early, and I snagged puts up here, and my break and I set my my stop to be close above VWAP, somewhere between VWAP and 454, depending on what price action looked like. And this showed no want to slow down, and I closed it out before the end of this candle. So that was my loser for today. Kept watching. I saw this little setup here happen. This little bull flag here on this pop up. This here, this 454 had been acting over here as a resistance. It bounced here, closed below, bounced here, closed below, bounced here, closed below, bounced here, closed below. Finally broke up above and held, and started to consolidate a little bit. It came up on a pretty hefty green volume here. So I was looking for a retracement down to about this 8 EMA on the 5-minute. And I was watching for somewhere around the 50% retracement area from that pop-up. It didn't hit the 50%, but it did hit pretty close to this, close to the 8. And that's about where I got in. I got into this one at 10:23. It still had not broken out of this range, and it still didn't break out of this range today. It bounced a little bit off pre-market. It never hit my level, my pre-market level, which PM low was going to be the main bounce area. It did hit this daily level, and this would have honestly been, if I'd been paying better attention, I would have seen these two dip down and close above. Actually 3 on this 5-minute chart. This almost looks like a tweezers, which has something crazy like a 90% success rate of working as a reversal. And it did over here too, even in pre-market. Did it here. There's 2 long lower wicks, came back up. There's here 2 longer, well, 2 upper wicks, came back down. So I missed the entry on this, and I ended up with puts over here since I had missed it because I was watching little green, bigger red. Wasn't getting a lot of momentum. Suddenly got a ton of momentum and stopped me out. This one, however, I got in right about 454 after it failed to close below. So I got in right in here, and it dipped down a little bit. My stop for this one was going to be a close on the 5-minute below 454. Would have invalidated for me. So it immediately took this nasty face ripper here, 454 up to 455 and a half, almost 455 and a half on 2 5-minute candles. I mean, this one here was an 80-cent candle in 5 minutes, and it went up with volume. It went up with pretty significant volume there. This one, I'm not going to say this was this was managed well, because it wasn't. As soon as it came up here, I saw the size of this candle, and it is significantly higher than everything else here, which means it came up with some momentum. I should have expected a consolidation phase after that, and likely a continuation. But the mistake that I made on this was I bought 456 puts, or 456 calls, so they were in the money way up here. It wasn't even close to them being in the money. And from here to here, my contracts went up 300%. So that was a huge increase, and a lot of it was in IV. So seeing this one come up here, this was kind of a lotto. I only played one contract. So once this one came up here and I saw this, my stop per my system was way down here. So I would have given up 80 cents worth of movement in order to trip my stop. So I closed it out on this candle here, right about the top third here. And it did continue up. These contracts actually, the top of this candle were up 700%. So it really did rip after it came up there and then rejected back down. This 456 level, 456.25, 456.30 area was actually my reject from this morning, which I forgot to post on Instagram, as I've been trying to be better at doing for my own personal accountability to make sure that I am following my plans. And this would have been, up here would have been my spot to buy puts. And you can see this one, it took a $2 dip down. That would have been another 700 or 800% if I had gotten in up here on puts. But this messed me up mentally so much that I called it a day there. I mean, it was a good trade. It was a crazy percent return. I don't usually hold 300%ers. I can count maybe once in my trading career, being this is year 5 or 6 I've been trying to master this skill, that I've actually held something into the several 100% like that. That was crazy. So that screwed me up mentally and moved my stop too much, where it actually kind of got out of my system. And realistically, the backup for that would have been a close below pre-market high, because I would have expected to fall back down into this range. This to be a fake out and fall back down in here. And it did close on the 5-minute below pre-market high. So I would have closed in here before the consolidation area. So this is one of those where I played this as a scalp, and it was a pretty hefty scalp. I could have played it for a longer duration. I would have gotten in it here around 10:25, 23, and if I had held it for an hour and 20 minutes, it would have gone 700%, but I held it for 20 minutes, and it went 300%, so it's a pretty good return. The one thing I did miss down in this area too was this ES bounced at 45.50. I wasn't watching ES at the time, and I was unaware of where it was, where price on ES was in relation to that resistance, to that support. And I should have anticipated the bounce, or the potential for a bounce, considering it's been kind of range bound. There was going to be some price action there, but I missed it. So, live to trade another day. Again, not a whole lot. It's trading up above close, but it's still having a hard time breaking out of this range. It's 453.5 to 456.5. It's just sort of in this $3 range the last couple of days. But looking at the daily, I do kind of expect that from this run up that happened here. Look at this. This ran up from just before Halloween, 25th. When is this? 27th. So right before Halloween, up until the middle of November. It's gone on a 3-week, almost 4-week just tear. No, it's been a month. So for the last month, it's been just steadily climbing up here, back up to the top of this range, nearing the top of this range. This here, this 459, is still my main reject area. When we get up there, I expect to see a pretty strong rejection. It might not reject, so this is just going to be a watch price action. Hope I see something that I can use as a setup. But there's some consolidation going on here. Had a little bit of a green with some upward movement that it couldn't close above, couldn't make a new high, but it did it on some volume. So I am waiting to see how the rest of this week turns out. we might come back down and retest this 488 area. We might catch the 8 here on the daily at, let's see, what's that at now? 452 and 452.50, and it might go there and bounce back up and try to set a new high and break out of this range that it's been in. But I am just going to continue doing what I'm doing, watch price action, watch volume, and take what the market gives me.